It's time for another WrestlePlanet news update as we look at whether a recently released WWE superstar has retired. WWE make reference to their recent mass releases on Monday Night Raw, and AEW gets called out by WWE on live television. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. New Japan Pro Wrestling this week announced an upcoming match involving a current AEW wrestler, as Eddie Kingston is set to appear at the New Japan Strong Nemesis event on December 9th at the Vermont in Hollywood, California. The event will hold the last New Japan Strong tapings of the year, with Kingston set to take on LA Dojo's Gabriel Kidd of Nottingham, England. Before joining New Japan's dojo in June 2019, the 24-year-old is perhaps best known for his run in What Culture Pro Wrestling, where he went on to defeat Cody Rhodes and Joe Hendry to become the WCPW Internet Champion, being one of the promotion's homegrown stars. This will be the first time the two men have met inside the ring, with Kingston set for his second New Japan match of the year. This weekend, Matt Hardy would appear on the AEW Unrestricted podcast, where he discussed the end of his WWE career and his decision to join All Elite Wrestling last year. Matt revealed that he did receive offers from WWE, although he would turn them down in favor of leaving the company. Before his departure, he received what he described as a Hail Mary offer as a last-ditch attempt to keep him around, but ultimately it wasn't enough, and Matt would explain why and said, "At the very end, they did a big Hail Mary where I was going to work with Randy Orton, and they had some things they were promising. And they had a big money contract which was really huge and would have been a great deal. I was appreciative of that, but I was like, I know Vince had seen me already transition into a producer role, so that is where I was going to end up. I spoke with the Bucks and I talked with Tony. We talked about some things about having me wrestle on limited schedule, wherever it may be. Even having me represent some guys. Tony was just amazing to talk to, he was so respectful. Tony Khan is just so respectful of guys who have contributed to this business. The way he talks to you, the way he treats you, the way he books you, everything." Hardy did have high praise for AEW President Tony Khan and the EVPs, the Young Bucks, who ultimately made his decision an easy one, speaking of how great they are to work with. Despite turning down big money from WWE, he is now known as Big Money Matt Hardy in AEW after a move away from the broken Matt Hardy character he portrayed early on. In September, WWE executive Triple H would suffer from what was described as a cardiac event, with WWE releasing a statement saying he underwent successful heart surgery at Yale New Haven Hospital in New Haven, Connecticut. It was noted that he was expected to make a full recovery. In an update provided by Dave Meltzer on the latest episode of the Sunday Night's Main Event podcast, the cardiac event was described as very serious by a source. Despite the surfacing of a video where Triple H was seen taking a tour of the new WWE headquarters that are under construction in Stamford, he has not yet resumed full-time duties, with no word on when he will be back. Despite his heavy involvement with the NXT brand in the past, his health conditions have kept him from attending recent NXT 2.0 tapings, with no word on if he will still be involved upon his return. But either way, hopefully we get to see him back in business soon. On the latest edition of Busted Open Radio, where Mark Henry is the co-host, the world's strongest man would discuss a segment from last week's Dynamite that set the wrestling world on fire. MJF and CM Punk took part in arguably the best spoken segment in AEW history, setting the scene for a bitter rivalry to come, with neither man holding back. Henry would discuss the AEW locker room's reaction to the promo, revealing that he had to go out to the crowd to experience the moment, and he said, "I'm sitting at the monitor. There's 30 wrestlers sitting around that area and everybody is popping. If you're popping wrestlers, you've done something in your life. I had to get up, walk out to the crowd to feel it, because that's why people go to wrestling. People go to wrestling because of how you feel, not because you just want to be entertained. There is true life, emotional investment, you want to feel it." That's one of the reasons why AEW is so popular right now, is because the crowd feels like they have a role in what they're seeing, and they do. They absolutely do. I got to go out there. It felt like electricity moving my clothes, one zinger to another, one zinger back and forth. The city of Chicago, everybody was there, will get to tell people for the rest of their lives I was at the show where CM Punk and MJF went toe to toe, a battle of wits, over 20 minutes and not one punch connected. Henry would describe the segment as arguably the greatest promo he's ever seen, which is high praise from somebody who has been around the business since 1996, right before the industry's hottest period. He would go on to compare the two men to legends of the wrestling business, including Roddy Piper, Ted DiBiase, and The Rock. It seems the promo didn't only go down a treat for the fans, but for the wrestlers in the back. And next up, we have an update regarding a recently released WWE superstar who may have retired from wrestling. This week, Nia Jax would rename her fan site to LenaDeneen.com, which led to speculation that this would be her new ring name. Nia took to Twitter to clarify the situation, stating that this is not a quote ring name, but is her real name, while seemingly ruling out a return to the ring. And she would say, "Newsflash, Lena is my real name. It's not another ring name, it's just my name, the name given to me at birth. Calm the F down, trolls." In all fairness, opponent Crippler would be a solid front runner if I ever decided to wrestle again, but it's highly unlikely. Nia's last wrestling match came on the 20th of September in a referee stoppage loss to Shayna Baszler, which was the final time we saw her in between the ropes before her release early in November. It's possible that she would be open to a call from WWE, but any independent appearances outside of that seems to be off the table, at least for now. Now let's go to some news from WWE Raw last night, where 3 WWE releases were referenced on the show, including a current AEW wrestler. Liv Morgan and WWE Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch would take part in a contract signing for their upcoming title match next week, and during the promo, Morgan would make reference to her former Riot Squad teammates Sarah Logan and Ruby Riot, the now Ruby Soho, who were of course released from WWE recently. Liv would also refer to Becky's reported real-life broken friendship with Charlotte Flair, and she'd say, "You're the reason why your friend is gone, just like the reason why your big fat greedy contract is the reason why my friends are gone. How does it feel knowing you become everything you despised?" The references and blame for recent WWE releases would continue to be put on wrestlers in the storylines, with Edge later blaming The Miz for the release of John Morrison, who Miz teamed with in the past, and Edge would say, "You use this," referring to wrestling, "to get notoriety for your next endeavor, for your next reality show, for your next dance competition, while you leave your partners high and dry to get fired." Morrison himself would respond on Twitter, backing his former tag team partner The Miz, telling Edge that if he wants to jump into Miz's water, he should be prepared for a slaughter. Also something about being moist, whatever that means. And finally, this wasn't all for the shoot-style promos on Raw last night, as WWE also made reference to a recent segment on AEW Dynamite between CM Punk and MJF. Of course, last week MJF and Punk would take part in a killer back-and-forth promo where several WWE references were made whilst discussing Punk's past career. Not only was John Cena and Triple H brought up, but MJF would be called a less famous version of The Miz, something that was addressed last night. During the promo between The Miz and Edge, Edge would have some praise for his upcoming opponent, whilst calling out the other show, and Edge said, "You have people on the other shows saying your name just to get a cheap reaction. You live rent-free in a lot of heads." This is a rare reference to AEW on WWE TV, with the company usually avoiding talking about their competition. Clearly, WWE feel that they can use the Punk MJF promo to their advantage to get people talking about their own show, sharing some of the spotlight it has received over the past week. The Miz and Edge are expected to go head-to-head at the upcoming WWE Day 1 show on January 1st, although this has not been officially confirmed as of yet, but they haven't hesitated to throw some jabs to build towards it. And before you go, why not check out my video where I discuss what's next for the recent batch of releases from WWE.